All right, everybody, look who's back. My favorite co-host and I are here for More Than Just a Movie season 6.
with with Tommy Davidson's character on Martin say when he came, I forgot his name.
Uh,
He said, "Did you miss me?"
Barnell Hill. Did
Marnell
you
Hill,
miss
yeah.
me? Right. Did you miss me? Did you miss Leroy and I? Let me tell
Yes,
you
yes,
something. I
yes.
said, I miss Leroy. We had our hiatus for the holiday, and now we're into February, and we was like, okay, so we had our time off to go into in between seasons, and I miss my friend. I miss you, brother.
Yes, yes. Look at you, got the new background and everything. Looking at is that a green microphone? Is that a green?
Yes, my favorite color. That's why I mess
she
with you,
she
Leroy.
she she moving on up like the Jeffersons to a
That's why
deluxe apartment.
That's why I love you. You notice the little things. Green is my favorite color. And I was like, okay, I'm about to have a signature mic. This is
There
why.
you
See, this
go.
is why
That's
I
what's
love my
up.
Leroy.
That is what's up.
This
I
is
love it. I
why.
love it. I love it. Oh yeah. That is so
I
cool.
appreciate you. Yay. Thank you so much.
She fancy fancy
And I
now,
had to
y'all.
make sure I had to make sure I premiered it for season 6. And y'all, you might even get a new backdrop. So I have this backdrop
Yeah.
still here because I
Okay.
want you to know, like this purple, that this is because our branding. But I think I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna make sure I put season 6 on there so they know we ain't new to this. We true to this. But we keeping our branding with our purple because purple is our color over here at More Than
she
Just a
got
Movie.
that.
So what's
She got
up
that.
before we
You better be careful with that color. Tiffany might come. Tiffany might come after you. And it got that Tiffany green on there.
it's actually Kelly Green. It's actually Kelly Green, but it probably is
Okay.
it's probably looking turquoise. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Tiffany,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is
It
Kelly Green.
does. Yeah. Say Tiffany
All
don't play
right,
about that color. You know they don't play about that color.
right. It's green, y'all.
So what's going on,
Yeah,
ma'am?
it's
How you
green.
be?
So what's been going on? What's been going on?
Happy New Year to you and all that good stuff. you know. So
Happy
yeah,
New Year
nah.
and happy Black History Month.
No, this I mean the on the Grown Man podcast that I do with Donald Morton in the morning, right? We did for Black History Month. It's not Black History Month. It's Black History Month. We Black 365, but in February we Black.
We black. I got my head wrap on too. What you talking about? I got my head wrap on. I'm ready. I'm ready. So for season 6, I tagged you on Facebook. Yeah. So if you're watching,
Okay,
definitely
cool.
share this out. But this is More Than Just a Movie. I forgot. Let me make sure I tell our favorite. We have
Yeah,
I don't want to say mascot, but we have an amazing woman, Basine, who watches every single episode of More Than Just
absolutely.
a
Oh, there we
Movie. And
go.
we
Cool.
appreciate her love and support.
Yes, 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 yes.
100%. All right, so we are going to get started with the show. Me and Leroy going to do a catch up online. We always send each other memes and videos back and forth, so we stay in contact, but we haven't seen each other this way on More Than Just a Movie since season 5. All right, we're going to get right to it. February is Black History Month. What a better way to start season 6. So Leroy and I, as co-hosts, we brainstorm like, okay, so what are we going to bring them different in season 6? How are we going to do it? What are we going to bring different? So we were talking about different movies. So I came up with an idea for today's show, and Leroy came up with an idea for season 6. So for season 6, we are going to focus on Black directors and their contribution to all these movies, because
Yeah.
more than just a movie, it literally is more than just a movie. There are a lot of moving parts for movies. And if the directors aren't strong, like Robert Townsend, Spike Lee, what kind of movie will we be watching? So for today's show is Black History Month. We want to focus on some movies that have changed our culture for Black Americans. Like, it made us think, it made us feel, made us look at things
Yeah.
differently. And there are a lot of movies out there, like A Raisin in the Sun, right? Like
Mm.
Great Debaters. Think about that. Great Debaters, as we talked about. We talked about so many other movies, and that's what we're going to touch on today. So, Leroy,
Did we do the Great
anything you want to say
Debaters?
to the people before we start? No.
And it's because I was looking at
Mm-mm.
this list because
Mm-mm.
I went and got this list, Kendell. I did two lists. The first one was movies
Mm-hmm.
about great blacks in history. So I got that list, and then I did a
Mm-hmm.
list of
Mm-hmm.
of the top 10 um black movies of kind of all time, so to speak. What was it? Yeah, list the iconic black movies and the significance. So and I was looking at the list, and I was like, well, man, we kind of we still got, well, we always say that we got plenty of movies to do. I was like, because we didn't do a lot. I was like, I don't think we did a
We can
lot of
go to
these
do this show
movies.
till we 100.
Yeah, so I'm excited to talk
Yeah, we.
about, what we're going to talk about today, with this being Black History Month, and uh and here's how I've been approaching Black history for several years now, because you hear the same old stories. You hear about Dr. King, you hear about Brother Malcolm, you
I just
hear,
did a video about that, Leroy.
yeah,
I
and
just
so
did a video about that. That we keep talking about the same
the
one, and there's
same
so
old thing.
many.
And there's so much of our history that we don't talk about, like
Mm-hmm.
the women of hidden figures, Katherine Johnson. How many
Mm-hmm.
people talk about her? You know, and I've been doing, like, as a part of the other podcast that I do, I have this segment that I've been doing in the morning, covering those people and aspects of Black history that we don't talk about. Yeah, even with Dr. King, we they always want to give you his "I have a dream"
Mm-hmm.
speech, and that's not his most powerful speech. He has several of them,
Mm-hmm.
but the night before he
Mm-hmm.
died, when he was at that church, I forgot the name of the church, but Kendall,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't even know he wasn't even there. He was at the hotel. He was chilling, because I think they were going to be meeting with the sanitation workers in the
Mm-hmm.
morning or something like that. So so that's why they were
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
But they called him and said, Doc, because Reverend Jesse Jackson talks about this. He said, Doc, there's a lot of people here. They here for you. So he gets in the car and he comes there and he does the mountaintop speech. I might not get there with you. I've seen, and it's just, we don't talk
Mm-hmm.
about that speech. We don't talk
That's
about,
powerful.
we don't talk about, well, they're not going to talk about Brother Malcolm too much anyway, but they don't talk about his speeches, the Ballad and the Bullet. They don't talk about the Operation Breadbasket,
Oh,
which Reverend Jesse Jackson was the leader, the head of, and Dr. King gave him, said, hey, put him in charge of creating the Operation Breadbasket, which was a prerequisite to
yeah.
his organization,
Yep.
Rainbow Coalition, which was a prerequisite, which
Yep.
came before that was my boy, and I don't think you said, I think you said you hadn't seen the movie, was Fred Hampton, who was the originator of the Rainbow Coalition. And I learned that from watching Judas
Yeah.
and the Black
What was his?
Messiah.
Because we know Fred Ham. What was the name of that movie? Tell them the name of the movie.
Yeah, it's called Judas and the Black Messiah.
That's it. That's the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that because it's about his life, and nobody talks about him
I have to watch
and
that.
who
I
he
haven't.
was. Yeah, it's a powerful movie because that brother, he was only 21,
Mm-hmm.
Kendell, when he got killed. He was 21 years old and
Wow.
was going to
Wow.
be just, and J. Edgar Hoover was afraid of somebody coming up like Dr. King, like Malcolm X, and he was going to be that next person. And they shot and
Mm.
killed him in his apartment because he
Mm-hmm.
had the Judas is the guy that was the informant that gave the FBI the plans of the apartment where they were living, him and his wife, and they
Mm-hmm.
shot 99 rounds into this apartment. 99 rounds, y'all,
Mm-mm.
into this apartment. And
Mm-mm.
amazingly, his girlfriend, I think they were married at the time. It was either his girlfriend or his wife. I think it because she was pregnant. But when they were, because they wanted the informant to put something in his drink to drug him, to put him out, to knock him out. And she was there with him. They were in the bedroom, and that's when they busted in. They shoot up the place. He was actually still alive, just like, and I don't know if you knew this. They said Dr. King was still alive when he got to the hospital.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's
Mm-mm.
true or not, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, but with Fred Hampton, he was still alive when they came in. They grabbed his wife out of the room. She was pregnant with their son, and I'm not gonna tell all the movie, but you hear two shots because they knew that he was still alive. It's crazy.
Mm-mm.
It's crazy.
Mm.
So yeah, so with this
Mm-mm.
this Black History Month, it's a lot of our history that people don't know and don't talk about, that aren't in the history books, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even with the Black Wall Street, people not
Yeah.
being able to talk about that for 50 years. It's just
Yeah.
a whole lot of
That's
our
something.
history. Yeah,
Yep.
and people don't even know names like David Stewart. David Stewart
Yep.
is the second richest
Talk
black man
about
in
it.
America. You know, not talking about these folks. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is black. This is Blackity Black History Month. I
Look, Leroy,
know, right?
self-destruction. You had it for
Self
self-destruction.
destruct. Absolutely,
Funky Fresh has the
absolutely.
press ready to party.
Love that song. That love that
All right.
song.
Me too. Over and over and over again. So as Black history, we're like, what are some movies that have really impacted Black culture, that have
Mm,
really imprinted something in our minds forever? When I think of that, the first thing I think of is Do the Right Thing, right?
yep,
Where
yep,
that really impacted our culture. He was talking about Spike Lee, he brilliantly told that story. Stuff that we're
yeah.
focusing on now, things that are happening now. He was
Hmm.
telling the story. We can go back and back and back. These stories have been told, but that is one. And I can say a lot of races love that movie and the
Yeah.
way he told that story, because it was the reality when you're going into
Hmm.
Sal's Pizzeria, right? And we have
Yep.
done Do the Right Thing. So check that out if you haven't seen the More Than Just a Movie, where we broke down Do the Right Thing. What and that was just the first movie that popped into my mind, other than A Raisin in the Sun. And really, that's imprinted. And later it started on Broadway, did a movie. Those are certain things. What else? I know you talked about Hidden Figures, but what is a movie that you think about? Cooley
Well,
High, like that has really
yeah. That was definitely to me, and I don't know
Mhm.
if this was for you. That was probably the first coming of age movie that I can remember.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, and
I
Cornbread
think
Earl
it
and Me
was.
really wasn't.
Yeah.
That
Cornbread
really
Earl
wasn't.
and me too. Absolutely, Cornbread Earl, and
Yeah,
even and I know you'll love this. That I think when I think of movies that kind of were culturally impactful, Claudine. I think for that time and what it
that's my
did.
favorite movie. You already know that.
Yeah. So I think Claudine was one of those movies that I would
You
include in
already
there. I
know.
know you would too. That was about the culture. That was a strong movie about our culture, who we are. And here's one too. And I don't know how you
The
feel about this, but
welfare system.
yeah, right. And the black family that had a lot to do with
Mhm,
that with
mhm,
Claudine as
and
well
tearing
too.
it and systemically tearing it apart in Claudine,
Yep.
and if you have a man, then you're not going to get this,
Right.
or you're not gonna get help from the government, and then looking at that with Reagan talked about years later, the welfare mother,
Hmm.
you know what I mean, and the stigmas and the systemic racism and how sometimes the powers that be when it comes to the lawmakers and how those laws were put in place to suppress,
Hmm.
where on the outside it looked like it was to help, but it was really to keep, if I can keep them right here at this welfare level and they can't see up here and they're so afraid to go down here, we're going to keep them right here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that Claudine was powerful like that. Boys in the Hood was powerful.
Yes, that's another one. Absolutely, that was
Mhm,
a powerful cultural movie. And I think of
mhm.
honestly, I think of Purple Rain with Prince. I think that
Mm, mm.
that kind of that was a cultural movie to me. Um,
Yeah,
just what it brought, because that was 84. I think that was 84 when that came out.
with his father.
And
Mhm,
yeah, with
mhm.
the issues that he addressed in his, that was his real life. That was his real life story,
With his
you
father.
know.
Yep,
Right.
yep,
With the issues with his father and even with himself, how he
yep.
he became this kind of selfish person, so to speak, where they ask him, you can only hear, I think it was Morris Day said you can only hear the sound of your own music. you know
Mm.
he was that way because of his his growing up, and him being, whether it was an only child and dealing with the issues with that his family had and everything like that. I thought that was a extremely powerful music, and to me that was probably one of the first movies where we began to kind of look at the soundtrack kind of played an important part
That soundtrack, yes, yes,
that's got to be
that
one
was
of the
good.
all time. That's got to be one of the all time favorite
Yep,
best soundtracks ever in any movie to me.
yep,
You know. So, and
yep.
how about here's one for you. Here's one for you that you can talk about. New Jack City.
Now that has impacted the Black community in the culture when it comes to crack in our neighborhoods, and plenty of
Hmm.
lines like we didn't bring it over here, like y'all blaming us
Hmm.
and giving us all of this. And I remember a line in there like we didn't bring it here. That's not something that we had. You know what I mean? That was powerful because a lot of people were going outside of their homes, seeing needles in the ground.
Hmm.
Their family members were strung out, or someone that they knew in the neighborhood sold it to the community.
Hmm.
So all of
Hmm.
those moving parts when it comes to New Jack City, I think culturally that has left an imprint on the lives. Gator, a lot of people have that,
Yeah. Yeah.
family member where, it was promising for him, and because he got hooked, you know what I mean? Then it affected the whole family, which affected the whole community. And I
Yeah.
think you talked about Malcolm X earlier, but that movie
Hmm.
has put a staple. I can tell you where I was when I saw
Hmm.
Malcolm X and that
Hmm.
impact. I was in college in Las Vegas. I was living in Vegas. And me and my ex-husband went to a movie, and I remember I think class the next day. And I remember like, oh, I didn't know this movie was 5 hours long. And we were in the
Yeah,
movie. We
Spike
were
makes
in
some long movies.
Yes, and we were in the movie theater, and I can tell you in Las Vegas, we were sitting up top to the left side, and that was in the 92. And I literally remember being in that movie and in real time saying, I am Malcolm X. I am Malcolm X.
Yep.
Remember at the end? And
Yep.
it was so impactful. It
Yeah.
left you like, whoa,
Yeah. Yeah.
whoa. Can you
Yeah.
think of another?
Oh, I mean, it's plenty of them. I think and when I think of let's say I don't know how recent was it recently, but at least in the 2000s, when you get into the 2000s, I think of I think of movies like 42 that Chadwick
Oh, I
Boseman
was
was
thinking of
in.
that. Yeah.
Say it again.
Jackie
Yeah.
Robinson.
Yeah,
Jackie
Jackie
Robinson,
Robinson's
right?
story. Yeah, Jackie Robinson's story and the impact that he had, not just in sports, but just the, like you said, the culture altogether.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what Mr. Robinson meant to black people,
Mhm.
and that wasn't a and the thing of it was he wasn't the most talented baseball player to
Mhm.
bring through. And they talk
Mhm.
about it in the movie because they say they needed the right person that had the right temperament, and and they knew and they knew that Jackie Robinson had the right temperament to handle what he was going to have to go through, because you
Mhm.
had great ball players like Satchel
Mhm.
Paige, Josh Gibson, a number of other ones that
Mhm.
certainly could have made that transition into playing in the major league with white boys, but
Mhm.
they didn't have the
Mhm.
temperament that Jackie Robinson had. How about this one as far
Yeah.
as sports movies and culture? How about Ali, the movie Ali? I didn't even think about that one
Yes.
with
Yes,
Will Smith.
because that really right. That really, and just like we'll talk about Selma too, but it puts you
Hmm.
in a place and space where you hear things historically and we read
Right.
about things historically, and these things happen with Ali, standing up and saying, I'm not going to war because the Vietcong, they
Hmm.
did nothing to me, and really standing on principle. And we hear these
Yeah.
stories, right? Same with Selma. We hear these stories, but to actually see the movie and see
Yeah.
them play out, it kind of puts the imagery in place for us
Yeah.
other than reading it in a textbook. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely, wholeheartedly, and that's why it's important for our stories to be told, whether through books or whether through
Mhm.
movies.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
important that these experiences be told,
Mhm.
because and I
Mhm.
hope we understand this, that we are a part of history now too. We're making
Mhm.
history, because this will be a
Yeah.
time that people will begin to talk about us and what
Yeah.
happened in this eras of
Yeah.
life. So we need
Yeah.
to ensure that we are chronicling this era, and whether it's chronicling them in movies, because a lot of the movies that we see that have to do with history, the 42, even Red Tails. I think about Red Tails. How many of us knew
Yeah.
about that? We read about them, so to
History is
speak,
history.
those great
Yeah.
men, the
Yeah.
Tuskegee Airmen. But do we really know the
Mhm.
story, the in-depth story? How many of us
Yep.
know the
Yep.
story of Reuben Hurricane Carter? You know that him and Denzel playing him in that
Come
story.
on. And Denzel did a
So we
and
have all
yep.
of
And
these.
Remember the Titans. That's still
Yeah, yep,
and
that's on
Remember
there
the
too. Yep,
Titans. That was
remember the
and
Titans.
that was real
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and
Yep.
even the great.
But no, go.
No, even the great debaters, with knowing them, and here's a piece of history. I don't know if I said this to you, but Denzel Whitaker's character there in the movie, Mr. What was his name? Oh, oh man, I cannot remember his name in the movie,
I
but
can't
I'll
think
see if I can.
either.
Yeah, but Denzel Whitaker's character in The Great Debaters, my freshman year in college, that gentleman, he was the keynote speaker at our school, down on the Eastern Shore, UMES. And was it Carter?
Mm,
Oh, um I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he spoke at my school.
mm-hmm.
And when I saw the great
Mm.
debaters, I was like, "That's the dude that came down to my school and spoke."
Wow, I
So
can see.
you get
Wow, wow.
yeah, so you get these connections through these stories that get told, and it
Yeah,
becomes it becomes a part of how we learn some of our history.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
how we learn some of
Exactly,
our history.
exactly. It
You
brings
know,
it to life.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And how about Ray, the movie Ray, understanding and knowing who Ray Charles was? You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love Ray. I love
Yep,
the movie Ray. I thought that was one of the
that's a good movie.
best.
Look, I can tell you, I have a memory about seeing Ray in the movies. It's so random,
Okay.
but it's true. We were watching Ray in the movies
Hmm.
right in Owings Mills, Maryland, and the fire drill went off,
Oh wow.
and we were almost towards the end, and we had to evacuate the movie. So I
Oh
had
wow.
to rewatch the movie. We're in the middle. Just imagine how good Ray is, and we had to. Everybody in the movie had to leave.
Hmm. Wow.
So it's funny. Not funny, but you're right. And just to understand some of the people that we've read about or seen. I have one when I was studying for my degree at the University of Baltimore. Shout out to my alma mater. I was in a writing class. And in my writing class, my white professor, older guy, kind of hippie like, bohemian, cool as I don't know what. I learned so much from him as a writer, loved so much from him. But he was taught, me and him would have conversations after class. And he was like, you got to see I Am Not Your Negro. It's coming to the Charles Theater in Baltimore. You got to see it. James Baldwin. And when I
Mm.
went to the Charles Theater to go see that and took my daughters, I was like, we got to go see this James Baldwin movie. I was thoroughly impressed. If you have not seen I Am Not Your Negro, you gotta see that. It's a documentary based on James Baldwin's unfinished manuscript, Remember This House. The film takes
Hmm.
a hard look at racism in America. That thing will open your eyes like to stuff that you already know. Have you seen it, Leroy?
No, no. I'm trying to think. I don't think if I sort of may have seen it, vaguely saw it, but I do want to see it because, like you said, it's a documentary, and I wanted to see what James Baldwin said because
Man,
in the documentary, yeah, because James Baldwin was tough. He was tough.
man, Man, and you can watch it, guys. If you guys want to see I'm Not Your Negro, I saw it in the movie theater and rewatch it. It's on Prime Video and it's on YouTube. YouTube, you'll get some ads. Prime Video, if you have Amazon Prime Video, check that out. That will put a stamp on it. There's so many
Yeah.
powerful movies. What else can you think about when you think about what has impacted your culture? To me, I'm gonna tell you, what has put an imprint on me is Crush Groove, Beach Street, and Breaking.
Yep. 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 Absolutely. You got to talk about, if you're going to talk about hip hop, you're going to talk about music. You definitely got to mention those as far as the culture and what those movies meant to
Man,
and mean to the culture, because a lot
yep,
of the younger generation don't understand the the significance and the importance of those movies being made back then.
Yep.
Especially when you talk about Crush Groove Breaking, those were
Yep.
first of their kind. And I don't, to correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they've made another other rap movies like that since then.
No, no, no. And when I tell you, I can tell you, I seen all of those movies as a child. And I can tell you the impact at almost 53 years old, how I still remember certain things and for the culture too. And it kind of put a stamp, just like we have things now in 2024 that's going to put a stamp on history. So when people look at it generations from now, it's a stamp on what was happening in
Hmm.
that time and space. That's how Crush Groove, Break, and not Crush Groove just because New Edition was in it. But Breaking and Beach Street and Crush
Hmm.
Groove, like that was our lives. So for
Yep.
us to have lived those lives and know hip hop, like I would definitely, I'm raised in South Jersey. I would go on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. I would see people plenty of times with the cardboard box break dancing and doing all. I would see that where now people will look at it as a thing of the past. We lived in those spaces and time. And then now
Hmm.
when movies come with the pandemic, we live that. So
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
powerful. I know, you have to do another another show, so I want to respect that time. And you got the floor at the end. What other movies would you like to that have made an impact, and name a director that you want to highlight next episode. This is just the entrance in season 6, y'all. So we wanted to talk about some of the movies, and if you have your movie that impacted the culture or impacted you, definitely drop those movies in the comments, whether you're watching live or the replay, and let us know about some of the movies. We can talk about some of the directors, we can talk about some of the points that really resonated with you. But Leroy, as we end, what are some of the movies and the directors that you want to focus on this month
Well,
or
I'm
this
gonna say
season, I
that,
should say?
yeah, the biggest movie to me, and especially when it comes to the culture, is got to be Black Panther, and even the director,
Mm,
Ryan
mm,
Coogler. That brother
mm,
is such a talented
mm,
young brother,
mm-hmm,
going from Fruitvale
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Station to
Station.
doing,
Mm-hmm,
yeah, doing Black Panther, doing Creed
mm-hmm.
1 and 2, and
Woo,
even Michael B.
they
Jordan
impact.
as an actor,
Mm,
yeah, as an actor and as a director in Creed 3, um and just the great things that they are doing as young actors coming in. You can't mention directors without mentioning John Singleton. Can't go without mentioning Robert Townsend. You can't go
mm,
directors about
mm,
without listen Antoine Fuqua. What's his name, F. Gary
mm,
Gray. These are
mm.
all, I mean, and these I'm just throwing
Come
off the top of
on,
my head. Nothing on the top of my head
come
of
on,
these great directors
come on, Spike
that
Lee.
we, and I started thinking about that today, Ken, when we started thinking about what we should do. I'm like, yeah, we haven't talked about the directors. When you think of Ava
Yeah.
DuVernay,
Mm-hmm.
when you think about these movies that we're talking about, more
Julie
than it
Dash.
is, like you said, more than just a movie. Because when you
Mm-hmm.
can't talk about the movies without talking about the directors. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so those are just some of the names that we going to throw out there. Spike Lee, I mean, he's the drum major. You know what
Definitely.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
so
Yep. And
all of
and that's a
those.
great and that's a great movie to end with. The Black Panther. Black
Panther, yeah,
Panther
absolutely,
changed the lives. We were dressing up in our
yeah.
African garb. We were proud when Black Panther came out. We had a superhero who looked like us, Chadwick Boseman. We had a whole black cast. We saw African culture and we saw blackness at its finest. So that's the perfect movie to end with when we're talking about movies in Black History Month that shaped us or that made a strong impact on the community in our culture. Black Panther, come on now. That's it. That's all. All right, Leroy. What the people got to do as we end? What they got to do? Season 6. Season 6. Season 6. Season 6.
Yes, 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 indeed. You want to go, you want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, because we back, y'all. We back. We back. So
Back.
join
I
us.
missed
We
you, Leroy.
Yeah, we gonna have some fun again, as we usually always do. This is more than just a movie, y'all. We come to talk about those movies that we believe that you have you've seen, black classic movies that you've seen. Y'all done argued about them. Y'all done sitting at your grandmama house and y'all arguing about them or talking about them. You got to go see this, or you done gone to the movies together as a group, going to see these movies and all of those good things. So we got even more good stuff lined up for season 6. Man, we in season 6. Season 6.
Six.
6
Six.
of
Six. Yes.
them.
All right, love you, Leroy.
Love you
Everybody,
back, lady.
thank you for watching More Than Just a Movie, where we break down classic Black films in many different ways. So definitely come back next week as we talk about directors. Let's just kick it right off with Ryan Coogler. That's who we're going to talk about
Yep. Yeah.
next week.
Yep.
So join us on More Than Just a Movie. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like, comment, and share. Remember, God bless y'all. Please watch a movie. Let us know what you think, what your favorite movies are in the comments. Movies make an imprint on our lives and hearts. Until next time, God bless y'all. Peace. All right,
Peace.
Leroy.
Later.